As part of our winter of exploring in South America, we visited the country of Bolivia. Lake Titicaca straddles the border between Peru and Bolivia. It is the world's largest high-altitude lake at 12,000 plus feet above sea level. We stayed in Copacabana, a colorful town whose main street abounds in attractive artisan goods for all the tourists. However, not all the market wares were appealing. We did have a very good chicken soup lunch at the market cantina. The main cathedral dominates the plaza of 6th of August, where many of the vendors outside sell religious charms and statuary, plus plenty of flowers for the nightly blessing of the automobiles. We took a tour around some of the nearby islands on Lake Titicaca. At the Island of the Moon, we climbed up the terraces behind the village into well-preserved Inca ruins. These ruins are supposed to be an Inca temple or a nunnery. By contrast, the Island of the Sun had very broken down ruins and was quite touristy. The Inca chief seemed to be hailing the reed boat that went silently sailing by. Another lake tour took us out to the floating islands of the Uros people. These islands are built of anchored peat blocks that are layered over with buoyant reeds. The reeds grow abundantly in the surrounding shallows. Walking on the ground of the island is soft and springy. The island we visited had about 80 people living on it. I was invited to visit one of the homes. The houses are pretty basic and are also made out of the same reeds. These days, the Uros people depend more on tourism than on fishing and agriculture from their hill farms. We took a ride on one of the Uros boats, also constructed from the buoyant reeds. These boats must be like the ones that Thor Heyerdahl used on his Pacific adventures. From Copacabana, it was an easy bus ride to La Paz, the capital city of Bolivia, sitting high in the mountains at 13,000 feet. It's a big city, of course, with lots of traffic, hustle, and bustle. But our hostel was very pleasant, and it was just around the corner from the witches' market, where all kinds of charms and potions were for sale, even dried llama fetuses, with plenty of incense and good luck carvings. La Paz was having its annual festival of Alcacides, where one purchased small items of what you wished for in your future. We never did fully understand it. But the streets were not only crowded, but very colorful, with displays of local wares, so window shopping was interesting as well as the people watching. We went out to the street market, where there were mountains of bread on every corner. More kinds of potatoes than you could count, acres of beautiful flowers, and piles of succulent fruit. After all the busyness, we retreated to the Plaza Murillo. The plaza is surrounded with government buildings and the cathedral, and lovely people out enjoying their holiday. Definitely the bus ride from hell, but we did get to Uyuni. This proved to be a desolate frontier town with dusty streets sporting relics from the past. Then the dust turned to mud with the overnight rains. Our plan in going there was to tour the Salar de Uyuni, a great salt lake, and there were plenty of tour agencies to choose from. Our route first took us to the railroad cemetery, where dozens of historic steam locomotives sat rusting in decay. The small village at the edge of the salt lake was unique in that the buildings were constructed from salt blocks. Even the items in the so-called museum were salt. The blocks were cut from the surface and used like bricks for building. The salt lake at Uyuni is huge, some 4,000 square miles altogether, and certainly stretched horizon to horizon as we drove out onto the surface at a slow speed. We reached a stopping spot for lunch, to view some of the salt crystals, and for some fun times with the reflections. Most of our group were young Japanese travelers. They came up with some brilliant ideas for double images in this vast reflecting pool. Some didn't work too well, but most of them did. The best part of the day was seeing the lake at sunset, or should I say, a double sunset. These spectacular mirrored colors painted a perfect end to our trip to Bolivia,